Hello my friends, I am Indypride and welcome back to Total War Warhammer, where I've unlocked the Red Duke and Mousillon for custom and multiplayer battles. This melee monster was a former Bretonnian duke in his mortal life and contracted vampirism while on crusade in Araby. He fills a really unique role for the vampire counts as a duelist who excels at murdering single target entities, even when they're in the middle of a crowd, because unlike characters with AoE attacks that spread damage evenly throughout a unit, the duelist trait deals worse AoE damage but focuses on a single target much better. He also has a unique ability called El Saif, which is the common word for sword in Arabic, and it reduces the speed of an enemy hero or lord by 48% so they can't run away, lowers their physical resistance by 22%, and their melee defense by 60%. So, as you can imagine, if you manage to pop that debuff on an enemy hero or lord, you are going to hurt them very badly. We've got a bunch of zombies, hundreds of them, shambling into view with that beautiful yellow and black color scheme, and we have my Blood Knights hiding on the flank in the forest and eager to earn the Red Duke's favor. The corrupted Bretonnian nobility will be looking to put the hurt on my Empire opponent, who is just now crossing the river. So my opponent, Tree of Arbor, has a really interesting build in this one. She's using a build with really heavy support for a bunch of low to mid-tier Empire melee units like Flagellants and like Empire Spearmen and Swordsmen. So the idea here is to swarm with numbers that will get constant damage mitigation from the Warrior Priest, while the Jade Wizard heals melee blobs with Earthblood. Honestly, kind of like a Vampire Count's army without the ability to actually resurrect models. And the cool thing about this is that when used in conjunction with damage resistance buffs from the Arch Lector and the Warrior Priest, you're dramatically increasing your effective HP when using Earthblood on a unit. Each hit point you heal is going to go that much further when you're also getting between 22% and 66% damage resistance. So I like the idea a lot. I don't think any other faction in the game can combine the two together in a big AoE in terms of damage resistance and healing, so it'll be very interesting to see how this works out. Red Duke is going to go straight into melee and start decapitating people on his Hellseed, which is a mount that's way too small for him, by the way. I really wish mounts were a bit bigger in this game. They look a little bit ridiculous when you see Archaon on Dorgar. There's some of the other mounts in the game, but he's going to raise some zombies, which I've started doing a lot more than raising skeletons, because when you raise zombies, you get much more HP out of the unit, and the entire point is just to drop the fear debuff on an enemy and have them tank out damage. And skeletons die too quickly for my liking, so I do think zombies are the way to go. I'm gonna get my skeleton spearmen out to the flank to deal with those Demigryph Knights with halberds. There are two of them on the field. They're the killing power of Tree's army, but I also have some Blood Knights ready to go in and deal a nasty ambush surprise to any Demigryphs who get too close. Fell Bats on Overwatch right now might be able to block some charges from the Demis if they try to get around my flank. And in the center, the Swordsmen and Flagellants, buffed up by the Warrior Priests, are just now entering melee, while the Demigryph Knights with halberds on this flank are trying to get around and get into some squishy targets. So I'm going to get my Fell Bats down here, and the ambush is going to work out perfectly. Going to get my full charge bonus into the Demigryph Knights with halberds. Didn't look like they got their charge bonus off, and tying them up with the Fell Bats, backing it up with the Skeleton Spearmen, this engagement should go pretty well for me. If it was just the Blood Knights and just the Demigryphs, would probably be pretty scary for those 1700 gold Blood Knights, but going well so far. In the center, definitely expect Tree to be able to win. Way more units over there, but on this flank, might be able to hold out pretty well. Buffed up by the regen from the Corpse Carts with Unholy Lodestone, should be nice, but lots of damage resistance buffs going off right now, and I will raise dead in the back lines of the Empire army. I think Tree's gotten a little bit blobby here. Should probably have one or two units in reserve to prevent this kind of thing from happening and quickly crumble any kind of flanking raise dead that I'm doing right now. And the Vargeist, the terrors of Schwarzhofen, or rather devils of Schwarzhofen that cause terror, are looking to charge in to the rear of some of these Empire units. Raise dead again, so I've got two zombie units in the back of that big Empire Swordsman and Flagellant blob, which is exactly where I'd like them to be. They're gonna not do very much damage there, but they will send that fear debuff rippling through the enemy line and hopefully be able to just soak up some damage. Now I'm going to go directly for the Arch Lector, who is popping Grand Shield of Faith, and with El Saif going off, I could maybe do some damage here. That single target debuff for the enemy lord would be real nice, but he does have 130 armor, and I think better of it here because there's other stuff that's in melee combat, and I don't want the Red Duke to take too much damage. He can be a little bit squishy when mounted on a Hellsteed. Vargeist are into melee, the Devils of Schwarzhofen, causing terror, ripping some of those Empire core troops apart, then pulling out and looking for another target to cycle charge. One of them looks like they got stuck in there. Red Mohawks looking awesome, and the Jade Wizard casting Earthblood on that big AoE. Tree is definitely blobbing up, and I think that is intentional so the Jade Wizard can maximize the amount of healing it's doing. Just remember that Earthblood does not resurrect dead models, so unlike Invocation of the Heck, you want to use it early and often before you start dropping models because you will not be able to bring them back from the dead. Got the Red Duke the hell out of there because I got a little bit nervous, and I will pull him back into combat against some swordsmen. In these kind of engagements, he does not excel. He'll do fine here, but Vlad or some of the other melee lords are better for clearing out big swaths of troops. Definitely not what the Red Duke is designed to do. He will kill them, but with the duelist trait, you really want him going after enemy heroes and lords, which I'll have the opportunity to do this game with 2 warrior priests, an Arch Lector, and the Jade Wizard on the field. These Demigryph Knights are just completely surrounded, shut down by the Fellbats and the Skeleton Spearmen. Did a really good job preventing them from doing too much, and my corrupted Bretonnian nobles should be able to finish them off with their wicked lances. The Red Duke circling once again. This time we have our eyes set on Tree's left flank. Curse of Years going off, debuffing their melee stats, and then with the rear charge from the Devils of Schwarzhofen, an automatic mass rout kicking in from the Terror, and the entire Empire left flank is going to collapse. Now, I really only have the Blood Knights and Vargeist to chase down routing units, so they will be able to cycle back into combat. A lot of them will. Definitely have to be very wary about that once they return, but still a very good engagement from my end. And now, the Red Duke has an opportunity to do exactly what he was bred to do, which is single out important enemy combatants and hopefully send them to an early grave. Warrior Priests are definitely very tanky. They get the Shield of Faith and Faith's Bastion, which means they can get up to 44% damage resistance, but they're not exactly tanky when their physical resistance buffs get canceled out by El Saif, and their melee defense plummets to 0, and you can see how fast that HP is dropping. This is exactly what a Warrior Priest is designed to do, face off against the nameless horrors of the Warp and bring an end to chaotic and vampiric corruption with the Light of Sigmar, but that light is dimming, and he is running for the hills. He wants none of this. He does not want to 1v1 a Blood Knight Lord anymore, and that will allow my Hellsteed to chase him down. Now, I really wanted to take him off the field, make sure he doesn't come back, because anytime he can get those damage resistance buffs off, it can be a serious problem. So here comes my final attack from the Red Duke, swinging that sword, and the Warrior Priest is gonna go flying. He's actually not dead yet. He somehow survived that attack, and he will probably get back up. But yeah, there are very few characters in the lore or in Total War Warhammer who want to duel a Blood Knight in single combat. Put it in slow-mo again. Will we be able to finish it off with this attack? Hellsteed chasing him down. Warrior Priest does not want to be here anymore. He wants to go home to his mama. And the last strike from El Saif is going to part the head of the Warrior Priest from his shoulders and get a very disgusting and grotesque but kind of awesome look at the decapitated head of the Warrior Priest of Sigmar. And that guy will not be coming back to the engagement anytime soon. So with his decapitated head lying on the ground, we can now focus our attention on the Blood Knights who are circling, chasing down some routing units, and looking for a hammer and anvil into the Empire Soldier and Flagellant Blob that is in the tree canopy. It's not really a blob anymore. They did manage to break through my left flank, and now my reinforcing Graveguard are coming in to help out. Looks like the Grand Shield of Faith is going off, giving all of these units a big damage resistance buff, and the Empire Swordsmen are coming in to reinforce. And this will be the final engagement here. Blood Knights charging in from the flank, hopefully to break these units, but that's no guarantee as Earthblood is healing a crap load of these Empire units. They have healed a lot this game. Tree's done a very good job of making sure big swaths of his troops are getting those healing buffs. And now I just have to focus down either the Arch Lector or the Jade Wizard. And I'm going to focus on the Jade Wizard, because again, the Duelist trait will allow me to single target or single out that target in the middle of these big melee engagements and allow me to do a crap load of damage. If I can prevent Earthblood from continuing to go off and heal all of these troops, that'll be very nice. So the Jade Wizard will be my next target and is already wavering, and I want to make sure that I get another opportunity to kill off this wizard before he comes back. Finishing them off is so important. It's one thing that I think is one of the weakest parts of my game. I have a bad habit of taking my foot off the gas pedal as I go into the late game, and that can allow certainly something like a Jade Wizard to make a much bigger impact on the game than it otherwise should have. Sometimes I just don't kill the Lord in time, and I definitely wanted to make sure this Jade Wizard was off the field, so one more strike should be able to do it. Very, very low HP on that Lore of Life healer, and the Red Duke is getting ready to swing El Saif once again. Can he do some more dismembering here? Can he get another decapitating strike on another important Empire figure? El Saif about to get raised. Hellsteed staring down his opponent, and the sword is coming down now. And yes, another decapitation for the Red Duke of Mousillon. And the Jade Wizard is going to hit the deck, and so will his head, separated from its shoulders. Very nice. You don't get to see that very often. You don't get to see the individual heroes and lords get dismembered like that in Total War Warhammer. I thought that was super cool to see the Red Duke manage to kill off two of their very important characters, the Warrior Priest and the Jade Wizard, both falling to his blade. Arch Lector is still going to be a problem. 130 armor, up to 44% damage reduction with his Grand Shield of Faith, and his other, I think Faith's Bastion is the other ability, and he is just going to tank it out with his two dual Hammers of Sigmar in melee against a bunch of Graveguard. But here comes the Red Duke to hopefully try to finish him off as well. Balance bar shifted massively in my favor with the Warrior Priest and the Jade Wizard dead. No more healing for these Empire units, and they really relied on that because they're lower tier troops. They weren't going to be able to go toe-to-toe with Graveguard without healing. So now that we've surrounded this Arch Lector, it's just a matter of time before the Empire army crumbles, disintegrates, and runs for the hills. Mass rout about to kick in, and I will not be able to finish off the Arch Lector in this battle, but they will rout and shatter, and victory for the Red Duke and Mousillon. So I like Tree's build a lot in that game. I think that it can work. I think using healing and damage mitigation in conjunction with each other is a really good idea. I think that the killing power of his army, the Demigryph Knights with Halberds, didn't really do enough in this game to justify their price. And if you can get more kills with the Demis, take some better engagements with them, probably could have been a different battle. The Red Duke of Mousillon made a fantastic cameo in this one, absolutely slaughtered everything, and did exactly what I expected him to do, which was single out enemy heroes and lords and completely destroy them. So that was really fun and cool to see. Hope you guys enjoyed this one, and I'll see you next time. Indypride, signing out for now.